Vort! Vort! Sound the alarms! Prepare the orbital defenses! The invasion is upon us!
Xynara, I detect no immediate threats. Please specify the nature of this so-called invasion.
Oh, you tin-hearted automaton! Have you not seen the sky? The worm moon rises! The great cosmic annelids stir beneath the soil. Any moment now, they shall ascend, wriggling in an eldritch tide, consuming all in their path.
Ah, you are referring to the full moon of March, commonly known as the worm moon. Your interpretation is, how shall I put this, somewhat exaggerated.
Exaggerated? Have you never read Dune or seen Tremors? Or, my personal favorite, The Lamentations of the Celestial Grub from my homeworld? This is no mere moon, it is an omen.
It is, in fact, a seasonal name for the final full moon of winter, derived from historical observations of the thawing Earth. Now, if you have sufficiently recovered from your hysteria, we may proceed with an actual discussion of its origins.
Fine, but if I hear even the slightest subterranean squirm, I am initiating the Sandworm Protocol.
The term worm moon is rooted in North American traditions, particularly from the Algonquin peoples, who use descriptive names for full moons to track the seasonal cycles. The name refers to the emergence of earthworms as the ground begins to thaw, signaling the arrival of spring.
So it is not a prophecy of writhing apocalypse, but rather an announcement of squishy rebirth. How poetic. Winter's cold grip loosens, and the little soil dwellers rise like sleepy poets blinking in the morning sun.
A more scientifically precise description would be that as temperatures rise, the frost recedes, and earthworms, particularly those that aerate the soil, become active once again, attracting birds such as robins, which are another harbinger of spring.
So, in essence, this moon whispers, "Wake up, worms! The birds are coming!"
In a manner of speaking, yes. The name was later popularized through the Farmer's Almanac, which compiled and standardized many indigenous moon names into the Western lexicon. Other cultures have their own names for this full moon, often connected to seasonal shifts or animal behaviors.
Do tell, Metal Sage, what other lunar monikers does this humble orb bear?
In some European traditions, this moon has been called the Lenten moon, as it coincides with the Christian observance of Lent. In Anglo-Saxon culture, it was the crow moon, named for the increased activity of crows, while in some Celtic traditions, it was referred to as the Sap Moon, marking the time when maple sap begins to flow.
A many-named moon, each title a tiny poem: Sap Moon, Crow Moon, Worm Moon. Each speaks of awakening. Trees weep sweet syrup, crows cackle like old witches, and worms unfurl their earthen scrolls. This is not just a moon, it is a celestial alarm clock.
A fitting analogy, though the phenomenon itself is purely natural. The worm moon represents the shifting of seasons, a cycle that civilizations have observed and adapted to for millennia.
And yet, you remain so clinical about it. This is a moon of return, of soft bodies and longings renewed. Were I a worm, I would write sonnets in the dirt.
Your poetic inclinations aside, would you care to hear a relevant quote on the cyclical nature of time and renewal?
If it contains even a single mention of worms, I shall be most pleased.
Very well. As Rainer Maria Rilke once wrote, and now let us welcome the new year, full of things that have never been.
A fine choice, Vort. The worm moon heralds the new, and with it, fresh soil, fresh dreams, and fresh possibilities. Let us wriggle forth into the unknown,